Hey, I'm Ryan Fowler here on Tide991.com as we wrap up the first two-a-day of practice, 9 consecutive practices before they get an off day. We're all talking about Saturday. A lot of conversation's been about the quarterback. Well, I think that puts a little bit of extra responsibility on the offensive line because at this point of the season or this point of fall camp, you are starting to sort of question those quarterbacks. You put more pressure now on the offensive line because this is going to be a team that has to run out of necessity. They're going to have to run if they're going to try to make it back to Atlanta. That's why you look at this offensive line. Cam Robinson, it seems to be okay from that injury on Saturday, the big scare for Alabama fans. Ryan Kelly obviously anchoring that center position. Dominic Jackson really came into camp looking well, just was able to trim down, and he's so massive. He really, when you see him eyeball to eyeball, you're thinking, wow, can really be a right tackle that's very dominant in some of that run blocking. Still needs to work on some of the pass blocking, but when you start looking at Bozeman and Piercebacher, this may be an offensive line that is really a strong part of them is run blocking. I think that pressure now is much more on the offensive line than it was maybe this time last week when we thought some of the quarterbacks might be able to step up. I'm not saying they're not going to, but I think you place more pressure on the offensive line because you're starting to understand if this team is able to run the football, they can win a lot of games with just running the football between the tackles, maybe getting some of those deep passes to get those guys out of the box. That'll be the conversation that we'll watch here. The first two-a-days underway here at the University of Alabama. Practice back tomorrow at 2:30. Remind you to check Tide991.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel as we continue coverage of Alabama preseason camp on the campus of the University of Alabama.